Alright boys and girls, bit of maintenance day. Yeehaw. So already up to 57 hours, cooking along. Had like 34 hours when I bought it, so I'm definitely getting some time in on it. But anyway, got some new mods, some maintenance and stuff to do. Doing a gearbox oil change. It's only had 7 hours in that oil. I usually try and do about 10, but I realised after I bought some new oil to do the next service that I actually put the wrong oil in it last time. I actually put 10W40 in it last time instead of 15W60, which is what we normally put in it. So I thought I better change it, particularly with how hot it's getting. It's probably be good to keep that extra bit of viscosity in it, rather than have the lower viscosity oil while it's this hot, because it'll just get too thin. Anyway, oil's clean, looks good, not worried about anything. Just figured I'd put the high viscosity stuff back in it for what we're doing. Going for another big ride this weekend out here. Last weekend I did a really nice ride at Belthorpe. I didn't take the GoPro, but it was probably my first proper actual hard enduro loop. Our tour guide, I suppose you'd say, reckons it's about a mid-level silver loop, and had a ball of a time out there, but I was not well that day. I've been unwell all week. I've had gastro all week. It's been terrible, but I wasn't well that day and I was really worried I was going to run out of water. So I actually bought a new Camelback as well, so I can now take 5 litres of water if I take my old bladder in my new Camelback with the new bladder and the new Camelback. So that's what I'll do, start taking like 5 litres of water, because I absolutely chug through water. But anyway, a few things. I noticed on a ride a couple of rides ago that I actually cracked my TPS cover, and I know that this is a real problem if you break your TPS, because obviously the ECU requires it completely, and if you break your TPS to damage it, you can get stuck out in the bush. So I bought a carbon fibre TPS cover while there was a Black Friday sale on. I've also got some new handguards to finally get rid of these. I'm so sick of them. The fitment sucks, they're terrible, they always move, and I hate that you can get things hooked behind them. And with the amount of vines and stuff we've got out here, I just loathe these handguards. So I've got some bark busters, which is good, some new bark busters. I've got new tyres on the way. So I probably won't get another ride on this Metzler. Like I said, I'm not that stoked with it. I think for a harder wearing tyre, the Golden tyre is a better tyre. I really just didn't think this Metzler was really that good. It wasn't bad, but I'd rather a Golden if I wanted a harder wearing tyre. But a mate of mine owns a bike shop, and apparently there was a whole load of Midas double greens where they messed up the compounds, and I've heard differing things. Some people have said they're basically the equivalent of a single green, but with like a double green crown that's nice and soft, which would be perfect. So from all the people that I've heard from that run them, they reckon they're really good. And the guy that, because they've sort of got offload and they're all real cheap, so the guy I'm buying them from did us 10 for 120 a pop. So we did like a big group buy. I'm not quite sure how many I'll end up with at this point. I lost track of how many other people bought them. I wanted to try and get like 4. Just stash them away, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might end up with 1 or 2. I do have a second set of wheels now as well. I got them real cheap. I do have to weld up the other front and sort of fix it up. They need a bit of work. But the plan is to set them up with mooses and set these wheels back up with tubes and probably a set of Goldens. So that way I'll have tubes and a set of Goldens for things like trail rides and, you know, just general riding and stuff. And then on the spare wheels I'll have moose, and I'll put the double greens and my single green Midas front I'll put on the other set of wheels with mooses for more of a hard enduro setup. That way, you know, if I'm doing riding like I was at Belthorpe the other day, just chuck the hard enduro wheels on. If I'm going to do a trail ride or something, chuck tubes and Goldens on. Yeah, best way to do it, I reckon. I believe. But anyway, for now, I got a mate that's bringing out all of my new Midas, the double greens. So we'll chuck one on tomorrow, on Saturday morning before we go for a ride. But yeah, I've also got a new rear brake thing, clevis. Well, not a clevis, but the actual thing. So this has been bent up. I do find it a bit funny to feel with. It's also just the positioning and the size of it. I find it pretty hard. And also have had a lot of dramas lately with this bash plate, this AXP bash plate, because my boot does get from the foot peg to there. It's hard to imagine looking at that here, but it does happen. And that feels a lot like a rear brake when you're on it with your boot. And I've had some dramas, like obviously if you're paddling on the right or you've got a switchback or something, you've got to get your foot back on and get on the brake. I have had some dramas with getting on this instead and then having no brake, and it cooks me. So I've got a new brake thing for that, TPS guard, and also my mate Jake that we go riding with a bit. He just got a set of cone valves for his 23, but he's got a set of revalved stock forks that he took off. So I'm probably going to trade my standard forks for his revalved forks. So I'll get some nice revalved forks for nothing, and he gets a set of probably better conditioned stock forks for when he wants to put them back on his bike to resell it, but he bought a set of cone valves to just sort of take with whatever bike he's going with whenever. So anyway, all that gearbox service, new handguards, and I will today when I wash it, I'm actually going to pull my frame guards and swing arm guard and stuff off to wash it today, and give all under there a really good wash, and you know, give it a good spray down with some WD-40 and stuff, and tidy up whatever needs to be tidied up back under there, and then put them back on after X amount of hours, and then they'll be right again for another couple of hours. So that's the plan for today. We'll get to it. This is my new Camelback. So 3 litres, but I can fit my other 2 litre bladder in there as well with both hoses. So 5 litres of water should stop me from running out. All right, nice and clean, looking pretty good under these frame guards. There's a few other places that I've found that I will just tape up before they go back on, but obviously a good idea every now and then to rip these off and give it a good wash and inspect. I have seen some horror stories of people leaving them on for, you know, hours and hours and hours, like the whole life they have the bike, and they pull them off and it's, you know, trapped heap of sand and destroyed the frame from just rubbing sand underneath the frame guard and pitting the frame and all sorts of things. And then hilariously, I've actually seen a lot of people blaming the product, saying, you know, don't buy a Chirby's frame guards or whatever because they destroy your frame, which I find hilarious. So it's definitely not an issue with the product, it's common sense. Obviously the bloke I bought this bike off has been around a while, and you know, I knew it was taped underneath there because you could see the tape just above it, so I wasn't that worried about it, but I figured it was about time to pull them off and give it a good wash underneath them. But yeah, they're looking good. It's just some of these high spots on the welds and stuff I might chuck some tape before they go back on. And everything else is looking good, so nice clean up, get them all back on there. That's looking a bit nicer, and now I'm just going to get the air hacksaw and just trim a bit of this back, just so that the foot doesn't get caught on that so easily, and it should be a lot easier to tell the difference between the brake and that after them. Stoked. There you go, clean up with the air hacksaw and the die grinder with the flappy wheel, and it literally where the cut is looks newer than the rest of the bash plate. Probably should have cleaned up the rest of it with it, but anyway, that should stop me getting my foot caught up on that so much. That's not really a problem all the way up there, but just that little bit there is gone, and that should help heaps, so should be good. Now I need to clean off my engine casing again, look at that. Alright, next thing, got our P3 carbon TPS protector, so it should stop me ever potentially breaking that, so I'll swap that out. Alrighty, should keep us nice and safe. Now it's time for these ugly bastards to go. And I've got the new style Barkbuster Ego handguards. They're new, so let's see how they go. See if we can even get these off, because last time I tried to adjust them, all the hardware was starting to round off because they're terrible. Oh, so much better. So much better. So between these handguards and that Camelback I bought, learn from my mistakes and just buy the right shit the first time. I bought these because they were like 60 or 50 or 60 bucks cheaper than these at the time, and I was like, oh, they'll do the job. So now effectively these have cost me what they cost plus what these cost, which is nearly twice as much as what I should have if I just bought them at the start, and that Camelback's pretty much the same story. So anyway, poor man pays twice, as they say. Anyway, stoked to have that sorted. Much nicer, much better. Much less things that are going to get hooked in behind, which is awesome. Alright, so I've got a bit more foam on the welds on both sides of the frame. It's just like a sticky backed high density foam that we've got, so that'll do. I'll give this a spray with some WD, whack the cover back on, the guard back on, and happy days. Do the same with the swing arm, quick spray with WD, whack the swing arm guards back on. Put that all back together. Alright, back to being protected. Yeehaw! So, now do an air filter. Alright, air filter's done. Other post-wash maintenance that I like to do. Engine, steel, wheels, all WD and a bit of a wipe down. Obviously being careful not to get it on your brakes. But all over your spoke nipples and wheels, WD-40 and then a wipe down with just some shop towel. Keeps wheels looking fresh, stops spokes from getting, the nipples and stuff from getting all seized from water. And this is obviously after you do a wash, you do your start up and let it evaporate any water that could have got engine ways, and then I bring it inside and I give it a blow down with the air, particularly like top of the fork tubes and stuff like that, and then I also spray a bit of WD in the top of the fork tubes as well. So this is just all your engine side of things. Keep things nice and fresh, and you know, clean and good looking and nice, and looking like new as you can get. Whoa. Whoa. And then I usually, just on the shop towel, I'll just spray a little bit on the shop towel and try and wipe the hub as best I can. I don't usually spray it on the hub because it's too hard to not get it on the brakes doing that. And then yeah, make sure you get up in there where water sits. Get some shop towel and wipe it down. Flip the rim over like that, just wipe the excess off it. Get a shop towel. Stops the black from going all weird after you wash it, because it does go funny. Ideally don't do it in the middle of your workshop where you cluttered around a heap of stuff and you've got a bit more room, might make it easier. But not for me. Give that just a bit of a wipe with the WD-40, make it look all brand new. Obviously I don't bother wiping off any of the engine style stuff, but just your wheels.
Doing 55.
This poor wheel, it was absolutely mint when I got this bike, and that's why I've got the second set of wheels to try and keep these ones mint, but I didn't get them on in time. I didn't think I'd be doing such hard enduro stuff already. I've already ruined these rims, so there's not really that much of a rush anymore, to be honest. I could set either set of wheels up as my hard enduro wheels. I just chose the other ones because these ones were mint, but not anymore, so it doesn't really matter anymore, I guess. And anyway, do all this with the WD, and then I'll show you what I do with the plastics. Alright, next thing, tyre shine. I tyre shine the tyres. I also tyre shine underneath the back mud guard and underneath the front mud guard. Just helps to stop mud sticking. Mud falls off. It's an old racer trick, so bit of tyre shine there. So also WD the silencer and wipe that down. And then for the plastics, some good old bike wash and wax. And wipe down. Give them a quick go, and that's that. Alright, I ran out of wash and wax spray, but that's that. And that's how you keep it looking. Apart from obviously the fact that it's a beat to shit enduro bike, it looks fresh off the showroom floor, and that wash and wax makes it smell like it's fresh off the showroom floor. Anyway, follow for more bike care tips, I guess. I've done this with all my bikes all the time, and they always stay looking nice and fresh. They're always looking good, except for, yeah, obviously, covered in stickers doesn't look that good, but Mr. ATO man never pulls me up, that's that. So the other thing I've got with the Midas, the double greens that are coming, I've got some extra rim locks. So I'm going to go double rim lock because I've been running this at such a low pressure in some of these really rocky creek beds and stuff that it has turned a bit. So I'll double rim lock it, which is what a lot of the hard enduro boys do. Again, I don't have a moose yet. Won't be going to moose yet, but I've got one of those 4mm thick Michelin tubes, so I'm hoping to still run it down to around 5-6 psi and really get it low. But yeah. Happy days. That's that. So I'll get it home tonight, get the back wheel off, get the wheel and stuff, tyre and stuff off, and get it drilled with the second rim lock ready to go for when my new tyre gets here, and we'll get these forks out, ready for when the new forks get here. Alright, out with the old, in with the re-valved, fresh, double green, double rim locked, whole load of fresh double greens. Yeehaw, let's get it.